Good morning. Can you hear me? I just got the word that it is time. It's the official. So I need to give you a few quick introductions. We are going to be live streamed this morning. So please at this time silence your cell phones if you have your cell phone with you, and be mindful of the camera in the room if you need to step out. So I am Tamara Lasley from Virginia Highlands Community College, and with me today is Pamela Silver from Asheville-Buncombe Technical Community College in North Carolina. Today we're going to be talking about increasing female enrollment in your STEM programs. So before we get started, I have a special guest in the room I'd like to introduce you to. She's fresh on the job from the VCCS. So Jennifer Wells, if you'll please stand up and let us recognize you. She is the new Perkins specialist at the VCCS office. So I think there are several of you that are going to want to work with her at the end of the session. So please make her welcome. All right, so at this time, I want to give you a brief kind of overview of what we're going to be discussing today, and then I'm going to turn it over to Pam. At Virginia Highlands, we are currently partnering with Asheville-Buncombe on a National Science Foundation grant to increase our female enrollment in our STEM and some of our STEM programs you'll hear more about in a few minutes. Asheville had tremendous success in their first go-round of this grant, and they wanted to bring in several other colleges to do the same type of strategies that they did to see if it was in fact something that actually worked or if it was a fluke, right? If what they did was just the right time. So Pam's going to talk to you more about that first go-round of their grant, what they did, and then how we are now partnering with them doing some of the same type of strategies. So here's Pam.
Okay, thank you. And I think my mic is also working. As Tamara said, my name is Pamela Silver. I've taught in our computer technologies department at our college. I started out as an adjunct in 1992, became full-time in 1996, became chairperson for a while. And during all of this time, it was always surprising to me that some students would just put themselves out of a major because they go, oh, well, almost women don't do that. And it also happens in the inverse that guys don't go into nursing because that's for women to do. I remember really being introduced to male and female roles in the early 1970s or so and thinking, oh, this is really dumb. And also thinking it was going to all be fixed and taken care of by 1980, so we wouldn't be talking about it today. But it is not being taken care of. And back in 2011, we had a chance to do a National Science Foundation NSF-ATE grant. And it was awarded. It was right at $200,000. And we were very successful with it. Now, if you're looking and going, wow, it would be nice to have time and money to be able to work on something, if your school does not have an NSF-ATE grant, has not received one, their goal of NSF is to give every community college in the United States a grant ultimately. And they have a program called Mentor Connect to work with it, which Tamara's involved with. Check with one of us after it, because you're not competing with four-year schools for this money. It is earmarked specifically for community colleges. We were successful with our first grant. In 2 years, we went from 39 to 75 women in identified programs. So we almost doubled the number of women. At the same time, our male enrollment increased. So it wasn't that we were doing something to get rid of the male students. We had both of them increase. So we did apply for the second grant, which was $900,000, of which we're both doing some strategies at our school, but also working with 6 other community colleges to have them try and see if it works. We're right in the middle of it now, so we've done a lot of the first part of developing the materials and working now at the rolling them out and sharing them with everyone. The focus of our grant really had 3 items. One was to recruit students, one was to retain them, and one was to share what we did with others so that they could try it. This workshop is not talking at all about our retention, so just wanted to let you know in case you're going, well, what happens after they get them? That's another workshop or a whole day workshop. So just wanted to let you know that that we have a multifaceted thing, but with 45 minutes you can only talk about one area of it. So as I said, our results of our first grant were really favorable. And so if we had a goal for our students, obviously we want them to graduate, but when I really think about how do we get a student to come to our college and stay, what is it that causes a person to come to a place and really like to be there? It really came up that we want a student to have a sense of belonging. If a person feels that they belong someplace, they're likely to do it. How many of you, as you came to this conference, were looking around for someone you knew so that you could sit at the same table with them? How many of you were looking at, oh, wait, I do know that person? You know, we want to belong, and all things considered, we're probably a lot more self-assured than our students are. Our students are very nervous and don't think they belong here. I mean, I don't think anyone here has snuck in without paying registration and hoping no one sees them. You know, that's how our students feel when they walk into the thing, is they haven't paid their dues. They maybe don't belong as students. And so you want to have a sense of belonging. Our Women in Technology, we have t-shirts and get together, and whenever there are several of us with the t-shirts, we have to take a picture. And it really has the students, they have someone that they can connect with and know that they belong. A person yesterday was talking at one of the sessions, and I forget which, it was one of the keynote things, I think it was a school, and they go, does a student know what to do when they drive onto your campus? Can they find the building? I mean, I think that all schools should rent a great big neon sign with a red arrow and have it on top of the registration building, say, start here. Because how, you know, does a student know really what to do and where to find? Our students, if they're going to be successful, they really have to know, you know, when they recruit, when they come on the campus, when they go in the classroom, they need to know that there's someone there who really cares and really can help them find out what's best for them. And it really ends up with the grant. A lot of it is, how do we let students come and know that they belong and that someone cares about them? Now, a lot of our STEM programs already have fairly good enrollment. You know, the thing is that most of them, and if you're different, we'd really love to hear from you, are probably about 12% women or so, and so they're predominantly male in the enrollment. And so if you keep doing the same things you're doing now for advising, for recruitment, you're probably going to keep getting the same students. Albert Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Let's go make a joke. I'll go ahead and make it. Or maybe now Trump has said this, but sorry. But anyway, this is really that you're looking at, what are you going to do? I am not suggesting that you stop what you're doing. It's working to get the students you have. What we want to do is add on another layer of additional things you might want to do to be able to get more females into your programs. And I do want to say our grant has totally been focused on recruiting more women into some identified technology and engineering programs. These are both within the computer realm and within the engineering realm at both our school and the partner schools. They also, it was women that we were focusing on because at all of our schools, more than 50% of the students were women, so it was kind of low-hanging fruit to apply for it. The same strategies that you'll hear me talk about, studies do show also work with minority students. And if you're in a nursing program or something and you want to get more men, do a 180 reverse of what I say to do, and that's how you can get more men into your programs. So this tends to say what men are looking for and what women are looking for. The other part is that we're doing the 30,000-foot view. I was a woman in technology way back in the 70s. I was going in no matter what people did. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get that same 12 to 15% women. So this is, do you want to increase that number or not? And it's really hard sometimes when we're doing the presentation for women who are teaching in technology and engineering, because they're sitting there going, well, that doesn't apply to me. I don't want that. And right, you're the people who are going to be in the program no matter what. We want to get more women into the program. So what can we do? You know, it's that we're looking at it, we're not getting the women, what can we do with it? So if you read the title of the program and the description, who do you think of when I say a computer person? Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg. By the way, this is also a generational thing. If you know that Bill Gates was in computers, you're older. Young people think he's a rich dude who gives away a lot of money. They don't know he was in computers at all. But you know, what do these people have in common? They're all white men. If I'm a white man and thinking, should I go into computer technologies? I sure have a lot of role models that I can look at in the media and everything that have gone into technology. It's very easy to find someone who looks like me. Women don't see themselves in STEM professions. The underlying fact, women do not see themselves in STEM professions. They do not picture themselves. They don't see the examples. They don't see other women, so they do not realize that that is something that they can do. So you really want the looking at them. The other is, if you talk about why students should major in STEM, how many of you give the reasons that you can get a good salary and get jobs? Anyone ever hear of that's why you should go into STEM? Okay. That is a great marketing ploy if you want men. Men tend to pick careers because they know they can get jobs and that they can earn a good living for it. They also like if they get to work with really cool technology. Growing up, I have 6 brothers. My brothers would be under the hood of the car looking at things. The car wasn't broken. Why were they doing it? It's because they and their friends thought it was really cool. Now, young men are doing that with computers instead, but they'll do technology for technology's sake. So a lot of times when we're marketing our programs, we're emphasizing that. Come here, you can get a job when you graduate, you can earn good money. Keep doing that, and you're going to keep attracting the men who want to come for it. So why do women pick careers? First of all, how many of you have ever heard a female go, I want to major in an allied health field? Okay. Why are they going to do it? They want to help people. Do they ever mention, because I love anatomy and physiology, I want to do a lot of biology? No. Women pick careers because they want to help others, work in teams, and solve problems. When people say that young women lose their interest in STEM when they are in high school, I personally, and I'm not a research person, so I haven't researched this, I don't think they lose their interest. It's just that when they start thinking about what they're going to do for a career, they think about what they want for their lifestyle, that they want to help others and make a difference. Now, I will contend that I'm a computer person, I do this all the time. The biggest hero for you in a given day is if your computer isn't working and they come and fix it, how much do you love that computer person? You know, they saved your life. You sometimes even say that. So I really start out when I talk to young, or any women, how many of you use a computer? How many of you have ever answered a question about a computer? All hands go up with the computer. All hands almost go up if I say, have you ever answered a question for anyone, your friend and everything? Then you're already computer people. The difference is I'm getting paid for it, you're doing it for free. So emphasize the helping others, working in teams, and solving problems. And by the way, this is not lying to students. These are the #1 skills our employers want. When they call me for a reference, they know our school does a good job of teaching them. How well do they get along with others? Can I count on them? How well do they work in teams? So these are the #1 skills employers want for our programs. It's just we tend not to emphasize them. We tend to talk about the money and the jobs that you can get. So message, when you talk to men about the job, talk about salary, job potential, and technology. If you're talking to women, talk about helping others, working in teams, and solving problems. So we realized we needed to get some marketing materials, looking at these 2 items as important guiding points. One is that we wanted people to be able to picture themselves in the profession. 2, we wanted to emphasize the soft skills that people were looking at. And so yesterday, being from North Carolina, I don't know all the people who were talking or what schools, but someone mentioned, you know, that if you couldn't see yourself in the career or what you were going to do, it was really hard. And they said, for example, cybersecurity didn't exist, so people don't have parents who were in cybersecurity or anything. And this becomes really important if you're trying to get women into STEM careers. Women, and everyone tends to go into something they know what to expect or what they're going to do. They're picking out their career. What are they going to do, and how are you going to explain it? I went to a conference, and there were 2 of my colleagues listed on the program that weren't able to be here. Rachel Fallon sprained both of her ankles and is still recovering from that. Jim is going to another conference and couldn't be there, but Jim teaches our civil engineering. He went to a conference with me. He and I were in a session, and the person goes, no one is going to become a civil engineer based on the job descriptions that people have in their catalogs of what a civil engineer would do. And in fact, here was our description of under our state curriculum standard of what a civil engineer would do. Something about planning, documenting, supervising, projects, communication. I don't know, I got lost about line 4 and wasn't going to major in this for any reason. So Jim really looked up, students want to know what they're going to do and how they'll make a difference. This is how he changed it for our website and what he does. A civil engineering technology curriculum prepares future technicians to help make our community a better place. Civil engineering technicians ensure clean rivers and streams, design efficient and sustainable buildings, improve safety on roads to help reduce accidents, develop mass transit alternatives, safe drinking water. How many of you want to become a civil engineer? Yeah, you know, we're reading that and going, wow, that's great, I'd like to do that. And so a lot of times our catalog descriptions are based on what we're going to teach them, not what the students are going to do. And it's really fine to tell people what you're going to teach them if they have role models who are doing the job, who can tell them what their typical life is. But if we're trying to get women into STEM fields, they don't have someone to tell them what they'll do when they graduate. So all they have is that really boring description, and they're going, I want to help people and make a difference. Why would I want to do that? So you really want to look at what is the message, and are you talking about the helping others? We also created some materials. One of them is this display board that we have here, and what it has on it is it says, picture yourself in technology. Notice we don't have as a woman or anything, it just says picture yourself in technology. These are little mirrors, and when we're going out to events, last week at our school we had our open house for high school students and also for the general public, and the number of people, both male and female, who are coming in to look at the little mirrors and everything are really, people like having the mirrors to be able to look in. Underneath it, it says finding solutions, helping others, working in teams. Now, we don't lose the other message. On this side, we say that it's, number 1 is a job where technicians is in the job title. We also tell them that there's 16.9 million jobs in the United States for this role. We also tell them wages are higher. And this one was also one that the keynote mentioned yesterday. We do say that 63% of all jobs require some sort of post-secondary education. So we're giving the facts, but that's not our main message for it. We're also including the, you know, soft skills in what you're going to do. And this display board is nice because these two fold up, and it has a handle here so it closes up and you can carry with you. If any of you have ever been looking for a display board, I highly recommend this one for whatever message because it's very easy to carry with you. Does anyone have the ones that you have to shove into the cloth bags? And yeah, this one is so nice for it. And I've been using ours for about 4 years. The mirrors have not fallen off or broken or anything. So just also have no idea who the manufacturer is, but lucked out of getting really good ones there. We also have posters, which we post in the, once we have these, this is the one for Virginia Highlands, we print them out and we give them to any place that we can think of. We do an innovative expo for high school teachers. We give them to take it back to their school to post it. We take it to the YWCA, to the YMCA, to child care places, to, you know, the real thing is getting out the message and having the picture yourself in technology. This is our slightly older version. When we started, we did not have a lot of women in our programs to take pictures of, so if so, we use stock photos for it. This is another one that we have, and this is the only one that says these women do also, and this is picture yourself in a technology career these women did. And what's kind of cool about this is STEM Connector put out a program called 100 Notable Women of STEM. And from that, I thought, oh, it would be nice to share some of these names. And so we got some of this with women who were notable women in STEM, but some of those seemed a little bit out of reach. So we also added in some local women who are in the paper sometimes and doing things about STEM. Realize for our students that might even feel out of reach. So we also included local graduates who had gotten jobs with their 2-year degree. And so we have these posters, which are also printed on 11 by 17. And then we did individual posters, and it started out notable people in technology. Notice just notable people. And I read this, and I could never have been Dr. Sally Ride. I was a student who went, someone who went back to school after divorce. If someone would have said, oh, you can be like her, it would have been, nah, let me go major in psychology or something. It was too far out of my realm. So we did include local people, but we really realized even that for our students could feel like it wasn't going to be a match for them. So what we did is we got our students like Gail Fitzgerald, who came to school, got a job in our electrical. Eaton is a fairly big employer for us, and I'm more of a computer person, so I don't know the excitement about being a tester 3 for medium voltage drives, but it's a good job and everything, and something she likes. I do know Kelly a lot more, who came to school after the paper stopped printing in our area. They sent it's 10 years ago or so when they sent the printing down to Greenville. She came back to school then, got a computer job, and now works at the airport in their IT department. So we have these posts. We had originally said we were going to have flyers. Have any of you ever left like a high school event and see what happens with all the flyers? On the ground, on the wastebasket. So we thought, well, we want something people might keep a little bit. So we ended up doing bookmarks instead. And so we did a bookmark for each targeted program at the school for it. Where we had it, we used student pictures. If we didn't, we used the stock photos as we're waiting to get them. Getting pictures taken from our students was a harder step than I thought it would be with our marketing sometimes. But the front side, picture yourself working in teams, finding solutions, helping others. On the back side, it has the jobs and what are available for it. So it works out easily. People can do this. I have not gotten my act quite enough together, but one of our schools has the bookmarks at the bookstore. So when students get their books at the beginning of the semester, they're able to pick up one of the bookmarks for using with it there too. So bookmarks, I've noticed people tend to keep. They just use them for different reasons for it. We also have, everything we did here was things we did as a result of the grant. The other that we wanted to look at is our marketing department puts out what they call program brochures. Each year they have it for each of the programs, and we looked at them, and some of ours were pretty good. What this shows is 2 students working together. It has a male and a female student. Emphasis kind of, you can see that they're working together on a project. But we had, more of ours were like this, with the man and the machine. This was man in the machine. This is probably the thing that caught your eye first off and everything. So what we did is we really worked at making sure we had females featured on all of our sheets. Now, I will tell you, we really emphasized and had females featured on every single one of our program sheets because the message is so much, and there's so many male role models out there in these programs. If we did only females for the next 50 years, we would still not equal the number of times men have been featured on it. And if I ask someone to think computer person, the other is with our networking technology program, for example, a guy isn't going to come up, see a female on the program sheet and go, oh, well, networking's for women, I'm not going to major in it. So you're not going to have that they're going to put themselves out of a program because of that. So look at your marketing material. Does it feature the students you want for it? And by the way, the students you want to look at not only gender, you do want to look at ethnicity, you also want to look at age. A lot of times, a lot of our students are non-traditional age, so we are making sure we include women who have not been a traditional age student because we don't want them to think they're too old for technology. So you're sending a lot of messages with your material. So we have the materials, we're now ready to get the students. And with doing it, back in 2012 when we first got the grant, I went to a workshop by iWits, and we have their website later, and it had my major aha moment of working almost. In that, Donna Milgram said, you have to understand, are you talking about career awareness or are you doing recruiting? How many of you go out to schools and everything, and your student services says, oh, we need you to go out to a recruiting event? Have any of you ever done that? Okay. The thing is, they call everything recruiting, but if you are going to, if the people you're going to talk to cannot be your students within the next 6 months to a year, you are not recruiting. You are going to career awareness events. Career awareness are really, really good events, and it is really good to let students know about career awareness. But if you're trying to get more students, Going to middle school career days is not recruiting. You know, you're not going to see bodies in the seat in the next 6 months to a year. So you can go, wow, we went on 15 recruiting events last year and we didn't increase our enrollment. Yeah, so just look, if it's, like I said, if you don't have bodies in the seat within a year from that visit, it's not that it's bad, it's just that you've gone on a career awareness event, not a recruiting event. And we, at our school, we tend to call everything recruiting. We mixed it up, and so people could get disappointed about it. Some other things we do, in Western North Carolina, they have an event in March, and one day they bring in 120 7th grade boys, and then 2 days later, 120 7th grade girls. And it's a day-long event for E-STEAM, which adds in entrepreneurship and arts. And it's a great event. The kids, on the day with the women, they want all females leading the activity. With the day with the male, all males leading the activity and things. We got some great marketing for it. We got some great press in the paper, but that was not a recruiting event. 7th graders, even if they loved what I was doing, were not coming over to AB Tech the next semester. And we do a lot of things like Women's History Month. Once again, they're great events. You're spreading the word. You might be helping raise awareness and everything, but you're not getting bodies in the seat with that. Instead, you want to go where your students are. Now, high schools, you really need to look at your data. For the computer programs at our school, we do not get students right out of high school. AB Tech, my college, has a lot of students right out of high school. They're in the college transfer program. Young women who show a good aptitude for technology and engineering are unfortunately not going to be encouraged to come to the community college. What is everyone at the high school going to be telling them? Go to a 4-year university and a 4-year school. So you can spend a lot of time talking to high school juniors and seniors and not see a difference in your program. And that is, like I said, that is true at our school. It's just we cannot combat parents, their own expectations and everything else. So this is also that you can get a lot of students come to our, we get a lot, and a large percentage are coming to our college transfer 2 years at our school and then going on to the 4-year school. So you can get students just, if I want to increase numbers in my computer technologies program, I'm not going to get there. And I don't get 18-year-old men either. Our average age of the students in our program are around 26 to 27, and so, and that isn't changing, and the school hasn't been able to change it, so I don't have a magic pill for how to change it. The other thing I want to suggest is if you are going to go to the high schools, a lot of people will have a camp for high school kids. Now, the real part is you get one shot at those kids, you're spending a lot of time and effort, and if you look, and from doing that camp, if you get all of them, let's say you had a camp for 10, and all 10 of them come to your school, or even 5, then it's probably a pretty good return on investment. But a lot of times you're not getting the students. What we did with our grant is we have an innovative expo, and we do this a couple of days after the teachers get off of contract in the spring, so we can pay them a stipend. But we bring in high school teachers to show them what our programs are. Now, our first years that we were doing it, we were having career technical instructors come in. Realized that was preaching to the choir. They were going to already send our students. So we try to get the English instructors, the math instructors, the history instructors. A lot of those people have never set foot on the community college campus. They went right from high school to their 4-year program in an arts and science to teaching. So they don't know what we have. And I had one person leave and say, you just saved me $50,000. She goes, my 3 kids are coming to the community college, and then they can figure out what they do. So we really think about kind of bang for the buck. Who can you get to come to know our program? If we talk to one teacher or counselor, we can have them know about our programs until they retire. If we talk to one high school student, we have them until they went off and did their other job, till they went to wherever they went for school for it. So if you're spending a lot of time with the high school students, you really want to check your data and see what you have for, like I said, if it works. And this is why I didn't want to tell you, don't do this, but look at your data and don't spend time trying to recruit where you're not really going to make a difference anyway. Instead, we decided to go where the students were. Where could we get people who were going to be able to be in our seats in the very near future? If you have displaced and unemployed worker programs, at our campus we have a program called Aspire, which is for people, which is primarily women who are receiving what in the old days was called welfare, and they're required to be doing some training to keep their money. So our school has a 3-week program to help them figure out how to do jobs and apply for it. 90% of the students in the program have funding to attend the community college. They have incentive, and by the way, it is about almost always there maybe is 1 or 2 guys in it, so it's primarily women. These are women who Plan A, Night on a White Horse, did not work out. Some of them already went through Plan B. They're ready and know that they have to get an education. Almost all of them are going to go into allied health because they don't know better. But when we talk, they really don't like, oh, I have to take anatomy and things like that. So talk to them and they come and do the program. They have funding to start school tomorrow if we have classes starting. So it's students who are ready for the message, want to come and really have the commitment and dedication. And they want to help others and make a difference. They also do want to know that they can make good money and get a job. GED students. In North Carolina, our GED program is on our campus. Is that true here, or is it? If you can hook up with the GED person, whoever they are. Have any of you looked at the GED test? It's tough. I will tell you, if you want the brightest students almost high school could bring, I'd almost suggest looking at the GED students. That, I'm so glad I just graduated from high school sort of thing and didn't have to worry about the test. But it's a hard test. Now, a lot of those students have to know that you have the support, you're going to help them, but they are also at a place where Plan A didn't work out. They're getting their GED, and a lot of them are really ready to come to school. So I regularly go and talk to the GED programs and talk about what we can do and what we can offer for it. Undeclared majors. We have a lot of students, and sometimes they were planning on getting into the allied health fields, and they took the anatomy and failed out. And now they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with my life. I can't be a nurse. And so I talk about the same skills. Well, were you going into it? Oh, you wanted to help others. You wanted to help find solutions. You wanted to make a difference. Well, have you thought about this? So really looking at students who come, they know they want to be students, but they don't know what careers are even possible. At our school, we offer 69 different majors. And so really of talking about what is available and what might you do. I also go once a year to our local job link. They get people coming in all the time who have lost their jobs. A lot of them lost jobs in fields that no longer exist, so they're not going to be able to get something there, need training. I take a stack of cards, I leave with no cards, and I get calls. I went down there last summer, just last week I had 2 calls from students who said, I was at Job Link, 2 potential students, I was at Job Link and they gave me your card and said I should talk to you that you might help me figure out some classes I can take to get training I need. They don't know about our programs, so I go and talk to them about our programs. I also make sure I go and talk to our admissions and counseling staff. A lot of people in our admissions and counseling also did college degrees that were more in the general education area. They only know about our STEM programs what they read in that really boring job description. So if a student comes in and says, I want to do something that I can really help save the environment, they might not be going, oh, why don't you be a civil engineer? You know, so we go and talk to them. We did a program with a professional development day. There were 59 people in our student services department. I had no idea we had that many people working there. They have a lot of part-time people. They have a lot of people who just come in to help with advising. We made sure that they knew what you could do for the programs and what it worked, because a student coming in cold who says, I want to go into nursing, might not be asked, oh, well, why do you want to do it? I want to help people. Okay. Do you like anatomy, physiology, blood? Those, oh, no, I can't stand that. Oh, well, I don't know what else you could do to help people, though. You know, and they're busy. They don't have time to look at it. So I want to make sure people have my number. So if a student comes in and goes, I'm not quite sure what I want to do, they go, oh, go talk to Pam. She'll spend time with anyone talking to them. And, you know, it's really wherever you can have non-traditional students, you want to be talking to the people, because that's who we're going to get in our career tech programs at our college. And I've seen some nodding of the head that seems, some of you are either being nice or you're agreeing that at your school that is also the case. But this is what you really need to do, is you have to know, where is it that I can find people who can become our students for it? I wanted to mention a couple of resources for it. First of all, if you do not know about ncwit.org and you take home one thing from this conference to do, you want to join. ncwit.org is a National Center for Women and Information Technology. They have an academic alliance where you get a free membership, a great big red free button. And I have belonged now for 5 years, and they truly have not suddenly done a bait and switch and said, oh, now that you've joined for 2 years, you owe us $50,000 a year. They are an academic alliance of people in Google, all of the big IT companies, Bank of America and everything. So they get them to pay the big dues to keep it free for academic alliance members. They've not only been free in that way, they've actually funded me to go to their national summit 3 times. And so they even have funds to pay for community college people to go. Tamara went to their summit last year also, and good event, yeah. And also they provide free resources that I can just go online, because I'm an academic alliance member, the same as you could be. And this is, for example, top 10 ways to engage underrepresented students. It's a nice little reading pamphlet that when you open it up, it says, you know, select curricula that will engage students, encourage your students. It's giving you 10 nice steps that you can do. When I need these, I just go online and fill out the order form and say I need 200 more of them, and they appear at my door, free. So your school joins as an academic alliance member and has someone designated. I'm designated at my school, Tamara's at hers. Any other people who work at that school can go in and join free as members also. So you get the information. It's really got a lot of great things. I brought a sample of some of their brochures here that you brought along ones. I'd rather not have to take them back to the hotel and home, so feel free to grab them. This one's also really nice. It's 10 ways families can encourage students in computing. And this one they also happen to publish in Spanish, so that if you have Spanish population, you can take it to the schools to be able to go. So really want to encourage you to join NCWIT. When I first got the random email and it said, oh, you can join and have this, I was on the phone. So how much is it going to cost? It isn't going to cost anything. How much will it cost 2 years from now? Won't cost anything. You know, I really did not believe it, but they have so far held true. The other place that I had the fortune of taking training very early was from iwits.org, and they have done a lot of really wonderful things. The biggest part about iWits is they get their funding from us. So they there's not anything free from them. They do some really good free 1-hour webinars. The last 5 minutes is spent convincing you want to buy the rest of the webinar. So they have really good information. I can tell you, I'm an instructor, and I'm an instructor who wants our students to succeed. So when I said, oh, let me try this, I'm not doing let me split students into 2 groups and do this with this students, this with this students. I'm just using the kamikaze approach of how many things can I try and let's see if they work. NCWIT has out of their staff about 15 sociologists who do the work for it. So they actually they have the research behind it. And especially true if you're writing a grant, you can have what is the research for it and is there solid basis for this. And if you read the newspapers, you're going to see that there's solid basis. Just this week, there was an article in EdTech that says increased role models and inclusiveness environments entice women into STEM fields. And it said if you can see the women, that's students who do that will have it just be more likely to stay and complete it. We want, if I go back to that sense of belonging, we all want to know that we belong where we're at. And if you're sitting there and feeling out of place, it's really hard to be in an environment that you can engage with. You know, Maya Angelou, who I never had the opportunity to meet, I was in a conference with someone who had, but her quote is just really, to me, it says the very heart of the community college student. our students, I often feel, are very fragile. A lot of things can cause them to not succeed. And this isn't just women in STEM or anything, it's any student. And you know, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I think that if we keep that in mind as we're working with our students, we really can go forward. This is only a 45-minute presentation, and I've had everyone giving me the signs that we're almost out of time. So I think we can possibly do a couple of questions if anyone has them. Otherwise, here are Tamara and my email. I know Tamara put out her cards, and I do have some. We'd be more than happy to share any information. I had a small part of our presentation was dissemination, and we do want to share with you what we have freely, because none of this NSF funding, and just anyway, it's nothing secret. You know, it's not oh, well, look what we're doing that you can't. We want everyone to be at the same place, so anything that we can do to help, please let us know. And there is someone with a microphone if anyone has a question.
We do have about 3 minutes.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank our speakers, and I'd also like to remind everyone, if you'd please use the app to evaluate this session, it'd be really appreciated, because it'd be nice to let the presenters know what a wonderful job they've done. Thank you for sharing that information.
And if I can add to that, NSF doesn't just want to know that they spent money for me to wander around to wonderful, beautiful places. They really want the feedback for it. So it really, really is helpful if you do this, because I have an annual report due, and instead of just saying, oh, I went up to Roanoke and stayed in a great hotel and ate great food, they kind of like to know we gave a presentation and it helped people. So any feedback you can give with that is really appreciated. Otherwise, thank you all very much. And I think, Tamara, I'll be here a couple minutes if you have questions.